Hi, I'm Peter Harris. I'm a venture capitalist that's been investing over the last 14 years. I've invested in over 60 companies. And today I'm excited to watch this video and see how the sharks vet this company, Comfy. It's an interesting company. It's kind of like Snuggie. So we'll see how they do.
You know, Kevin looks pretty good at that.
It's the Grim Reaper.
It fits you. It suits you.
It does get kind of warm.
Okay, I'm really hot now. So, have you sold any, or is this a brand new invention?
Brand new. Brand new. We've been at this for less than 6 months.
You have no sales?
No sales yet.
All right, so no sales. This is gonna be great. I'm curious how they're gonna end up valuing something. How do you put a value on something when there's no revenue, no profits?
That's
What are you going to sell it for? How much?
$39.99 is retail.
And what does it cost you to make?
$13 to make, 17 landed.
17. Mm-hmm. Not great margin, but.
All right, so let's talk about that. His comment right there. So $13 to make it, 17 landed, which that means like they're manufacturing it overseas. By the time it gets here, when they cover all of the costs, import duties, shipping, all of that, it's costing them $17. So gross profits here are going to be about $22, which represents a little bit more than 50% gross margins. I'll tell you right now, in a consumer products business, that's pretty tight. Usually in consumer products, you want to have like what's called the rule of 4, where your cost is 1/4 of your retail price. So if you think about it, if I have a product that costs me $5 to make it, I'm going to sell it to a wholesaler. They're going to for 100% markup. So that's going to be $10. They're going to mark it up another 100%, right? So now it's selling for $20. So that's why he says like, oh, not great gross margins, because it's basically just marking it up one time. If they were to mark it up from $38 to closer to $80, which is probably where it needs to be, then from a gross margin perspective, then like $80 starts to become kind of expensive, and that becomes the tension. Are people going to be willing to spend $80 on this product so they can drive actual sales, or is it going to end up being too expensive? And if they lower the price, is it going to impact their margins too much so that they won't be able to operate either?
One size.
One size fits all, very easy for manufacturing.
And how low can you get the price?
We can get it as low right now for right around $11.
How many units?
About 100,000.
All right, so here's what he's pushing on, like, hey, okay, so landed is 17, but can you drive that down even more to 11? And he's saying, yeah, we can, but we need to get to 100,000 units. Okay, so what does that mean? Like, what's going on in the shark's head, or what's going on in my mind? Okay, if you can get down to $11, all of a sudden now you're really close to that 4 times, right? Because 4 times 11 is going to be 44, and they're charging 39, so you're close, right? Maybe you just boost the price up just a little bit to like $44. If I have to have 100,000 orders, that means that I need $1.1 million in inventory, right? I've got to have 1.1 million to buy enough inventory to drive down my cost to $11. So, and that's a lot of money to risk. You know, if I put down $1.1 million, I don't know if I'm going to get that money back when I start selling these things, right? It may end up being that nobody wants to buy them, and I'm just out the $1.1 million. So it's kind of tough, right? You want to drive down the cost, but you need to put up a lot of money in order to do it. And with 0 sales, they actually don't know yet if this is going to be a successful product.
Right, how'd you make it? Yeah, how'd you come up with it?
Well, the story goes, we're both single dads from Phoenix, believe it or not. We invented this in the heat. And fortunately, I'm going through a divorce. We have 2 beautiful kids. It's the last thing in the world that I wanted. And for those first 6 months after that, I was absolutely devastated. And so my brother took me in, and my nephew, his son, which you see right here, that's Saxon, he was sitting on the couch. One morning, I got up, and he was wearing one of my brother's sweatshirts. Oh. And he was up on the couch. He had his knees pulled in. He had his arms pulled in. And I walked by, and I'm like, whoa, Saxon, you look so comfortable. Look at my brother and said, you think we could make these for adults?
Yeah, why not,
and
right?
then laying over the back of the couch was a blanket, you know, fleecy Sherpa blanket. We looked at it and said, well, why don't we make it out of that material? And that's how it was born.
What was the original, let's not mention the other one, what was its price at its heyday, at its peak?
I believe it was $19.95.
So he's talking about the Snuggie, right?
I love you guys. You are
$19
nice,
versus
wonderful.
$38,
But
$39.
the big elephant in the room for me is the other one that you mentioned. It's just like it, except it has a hood.
It's not just
And
like it.
Lori, what was
what's
the other one?
prop-
What was
it's
the other
called
one?
It is
a Snuggie.
blanket. It is absolutely not the
no,
Snuggie.
but the thing is, the Snuggie's still being sold, and I actually do a lot of business with the people that create it.
Snuggie.
I like products that are unique, This is not unique enough. I'm sorry. I'm out.
All right. So I think that's like a valid reason to bow out, right? One, it's not super unique relative to the Snuggie, and let's be honest, it's not that hard to rip off and create your own. It's not like they have a patent on this, right? It's just a hoodie.
Between your product is and the Snuggie.
Okay, so if you were on the couch with the Snuggie and you wanted to get up to go do something, you have to take it off every time.
And it's open in the back. It's like having a robe on backwards. We're not knocking the Snuggie, but this is a significant improvement
But
on that
that's not
project.
the issue for me, right? I think it's great. I think it's comfy. I like to have one. But the problem is, even if you get your cost out, right, you're going to be burning through a lot of cash in order to figure out what works and what doesn't work.
You see what he's saying? That's what I mentioned earlier. Is they gotta, in order to get their cost down, they have to put 1.1 million up, but they don't even know yet if their product's gonna work. Like, what colors do you do? What sizes do you do? Right? Like, there's a bunch of big question marks and that you don't know, and you're gonna spend a ton of money before you know that in order to get your cost down, or you got to spend a lot and suffer gross margins while you learn.
So for those reasons, I'm out.
All right, thank you
Thanks
for the
for the
feedback,
feedback.
Mark. Appreciate that.
So what is it? You don't have the cash to go to production?
We do.
No,
You
we're
do.
ready.
We
but
do.
this is what you have right now is still a sample.
Do you have the money for the inventory?
Yes. We do.
So what do you need the 50,000 for today?
For more inventory.
Yeah.
But you haven't sold the first inventory.
No, we haven't, but
They're selling 20% of the business for $50K, and they'll use that $50K to acquire more inventory. Now, $50K is way far away from the $1.1 million that they need, but kind of makes sense because, to my earlier point, they probably should be buying little bits, testing it, understanding exactly what's going to sell well, and then using that information to put in larger and larger orders. Now, at 20% of the company for $50K, they're valuing this business at $250,000, which is pretty low, which makes sense because they don't have any revenue yet. So how do you value this thing?
Customer acquisition cost. Selling it for $39.99, it cost me $17. Landed, right? I have that margin to play with. But how do I know that's not all going to be eaten up by customer acquisition costs?
Okay, so what does he mean by customer acquisition cost? That's the cost to acquire a customer, right? And typically that can be quite a bit of money. It's not uncommon for customer acquisition costs for consumer products companies to be 30, 40, 50, even upwards of $100, depending on the price point and everything else. What Mr. Wonderful is saying is, I got $22 to work with for my customer acquisition cost. And if I can't get that customer acquisition cost to be lower than $22, I will lose money on every single one of these that I sell. And part of the challenge is, like, how many of these things are people going to come back and buy again? Probably not very many, because this looks like a fairly durable product. It's not a consumable one. And your best hope is that people end up buying like multiple of them for their family. But my bet, having looked at a lot of consumer products companies, is that your average customer is probably buying like 1.1 products, right? Which means that you're generating somewhere like $24 that you can use to acquire customers. And not only do you have to acquire customers with that $24, you also have to cover all the operating expenses, like their salaries, in order to make this work. So $24, not a lot of room there. If they can drive down their cost of manufacturing to $11, then all of a sudden you get a lot more wiggle room, and at that point you're looking at $28. Still is not a ton, but is quite a bit more than 22.
You know what that is? I mean, it's
I think we have a product that is a potential viral product. I mean, we're obviously going to take it online.
everybody says that.
You guys
No
saw
one's
the
ever
video?
come here,
Yeah.
stood there, and said,
We suck.
we suck and we don't have any chance of being viral.
Tell me a little bit about your website.
So I hear this all the time too. It's so funny. Like, entrepreneurs, I'll be like, okay, so what's your marketing strategy? They'll be like, oh, we're gonna go viral. Or the other one that I love too is like, oh, we'll just use social media and it'll be fine. And I'm like, get into the weeds. Tell me, how are you gonna use social, and convince me that it'll actually happen, because I'm now taking a huge gamble that you'll be able to do social effectively, or that virality will actually work for this product, right? Like, who knows? Like, that's a huge risk. For every company that goes viral, their products go viral, there's like 1,000 that don't.
Or don't you have one?
We do not have it yet, because we're about 2 months away from launching.
We don't even have a final product yet to take pictures of and everything else. If we're getting that early
You
next
have
week.
the worst answers to the questions, but
Yeah.
it comes across so nice.
Hey, we're living the entrepreneurial dream.
But
We're
you
on
made
sacred
that.
ground right here. We get
Amen.
it.
All right, Robert.
Yeah.
All right.
This is your big chance.
Come on, Robert.
Take a flyer with us.
Love you guys. You seem so genuine.
Not gonna have to do any of the work. We will do it. We'll do the work.
I got to be honest with you. I've never seen Snuggie, but 22 million in sales units. I'm all over that. Sometimes it's okay to be number 2 or 3 in a really big market.
Don't do it, Robert.
Look, he's not actually wrong. In venture capital, generally, you want to be in the largest number 1 winner because that company generally generates all the returns. But if what you're after is just building like a great lifestyle business, to his point, you don't need to be number 1. You can be number 2 or number 3, and that's okay, and still generate like a great return and great lifestyle and so forth. In venture, it's a little more important that you're number 1 because so many of the returns flow to number 1, and as a VC, you're trying to go for those outlier returns. But in this case, like it's like the founders say, like take a flyer, throw in 50K, and let's see what happens. It's pretty low risk, and what he's saying is like, hey, my upside here is the Snuggie does like $22 million or 22 million units. Like that is real money, and if they're like, what's the expected probability that I could hit that? Well, even if I come in at like 10% of that, this could still generate a massive return given the fact that I'm only buying in at a $250,000 valuation. I mean, if this takes off and the company generates, I don't know, like a few $1 million in sales, he's already going to have made a good return on his investment.
2 sharks are out, but Robert seems interested in Michael and Brian's sweatshirt blanket, the original Comfy.
I'll take a flyer. I'll do the
here.
50,000 for 50%.
Wow, 50,000 for 50%. So the whole company's only worth 100K.
That's flyer. That's a fat tire.
Getting a little hot in here.
And it's the only option.
So what he said is like, that's not a flyer, that's a flat tire. And the reason why it's a flat tire is like, honestly, if the guys give up half their business for 50K, are they really going to be that motivated to like really make it successful? Probably not, frankly. I think that's actually a terrible offer. He's already getting it at a 250K valuation. And I think by pushing the founders too much on ownership, they're going to end up just being like, this is just not really worth it. Like there are other ways in which we could generate more income than pouring all of our heart and soul into this business. So let's see what they say.
It's the only offer.
Thank you for the offer. We really do appreciate
Oh my
that.
goodness.
Wow.
thank
I'd love
you.
to hear if Barbara has something to say.
That's pretty greedy, Robert.
You know what I really don't like about Robert? He said, let's do this deal together. Let's do this. I'm like, okay. And then he makes the offer without me. Well, screw
I was
Robert.
just starting, Barbara.
Yeah, you weren't starting. You started and you finished. Okay. So I'll, of course, underbid him, even though I don't want to, just to get rid of him and get even. Okay. 50 for 30%. But you do all the work.
So
I'm
150K.
going to know how to market it. I think you hyper-focus online, and I can help you there because I sell so much product online.
Now, she actually does sell a lot of product online, so she's got some real value that she can bring there. And, you know, look, I think that's a rough offer to give up a third of your business for 50K, but...
Barbara, would you consider 50,000 for 25% and you have a deal?
You know, I'd say not.
Won't do a
Wow.
deal for
Guys, you
50K
haven't heard from
valuation.
me yet.
We haven't.
Ouch.
There's
And we would
always
love
the
to.
possibility.
I thought you were out.
No, I'm not out. I have not
He was
spoken yet,
out.
Robert, and I need silence. I'm out.
Well, thank you for that incredible feedback, Mr. Wonderful.
But you have 2 viable offers.
Okay, okay.
Say.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Barbara?
You have a deal.
Okie dokie.
Let's get comfy together.
Awesome. Okay, so they do the deal with her, but here's the thing. This video was shot quite a while ago. Let's see how they actually ended up doing. Okay, so if we look them up online, how did they end up doing? Well, if you just go on Amazon and you look up the Comfy, they have 72,901 5-star reviews. People love this thing. They got their price point up to $49, right? So that means if they were able to drive down their cost to $11, they're actually above that 4X that I was talking about, healthily above it. And with 72,901 orders, let's see what kind of revenue that generated for them. So they've generated 3.57 million minimum just based on the reviews. But just recently, the founders also came out and said that they're doing about $15 million in revenue today, just as of this month. So let's assume that the company is worth a very, very conservative, like 2 times revenue. That means this company is worth $30 million. Barbara invested at a $150,000 valuation. If the company just sold today, that would give her a 200x return. Or in other words, it would give her $10 million on her $50,000 investment. That is an incredible return. If you enjoyed that, check out my other Shark Tank reacts, like the one where we watch Bala Bengals pitch to the Sharks.